I would encourage all of you, especially if you're going through a rough time right now, every time you hear one of those I can't thoughts, you open your mouth and say out loud, if you're in a place where you can, I am stronger than I think I am, and I can do whatever I need to do. When you feel like I can't take any more, another good thing to say is, I will not have more than what I can deal with.
Yet at some point you got to define who you are. You got to define what your standard is and what your values are. At some point you got to start deciding, you know what? I'm not like everyone else. I don't think like everyone else. I'm not going with the crowd. I'm not going with the culture. The moment that you actually conquer the urge, all of a sudden you get stronger and the urges get weaker. But it will never happen until you determine, I am not like the crowd. I'm coming out of the crowd. I'm a part of the minority.
Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does. Most people go through life quietly and safely, tiptoeing to an early grave. People that have found their passion, people that have found the things that they can pour their lives into, people that found the things that they love, those people live longer. I think that's everybody's desire in life. You've got to live what's in you. Life is just too short and unpredictable. They have successfully convinced you that you are useless. And they use you to do what they want you to do. They meaning your culture. And you obey them because you don't know who you were born to be. When I discovered who I was, I became free from them. I began to dictate my own value. Therefore, I told them, you need me. Come on, say it. You need me. Say it like you feel it. You need me. See, you become a leader when you discover that. One discovery. They need me. The world needs me.
Beware of vision, dream, and passion killers. Family and friends in most cases. Family and friends in most cases will be the first to try and talk you out of something that you're passionate, excited about, once you have a vision for. Most of the people that have no dreams will wake up every day trying to talk you out. It's really not expected of them to support you and have your back anyway. And if you're trying to do something with your life, they're going to try and figure out a way to shut you and your plans down as well.
Self-confidence is an internal game. You do not need external accolades, external admiration in order to build self-confidence. It's all done internally. You control this. And you control this by beginning today to keep the promises you make to yourself. And you have to stack the deck in your favor. Stack the game so you win. You must acknowledge it when you do it to you to give yourself credit to create confidence momentum. So whether that's setting the deck where you're going to get up a little bit earlier, you're going to eat a certain amount of calories in your fitness, you're going to spend a certain amount of time with your children or your parents.
See, if you start learning more things and finding out and experimenting with your life and finding out what else fits for you, here's what you discover, that as you start working with it, and the more you do it, the more you realize, the more creative you can become. And then you say, wait a minute, this comes much more easily than I realized. Your mentality is more important than your location. If you don't change as a person mentally, you will stay where you are physically. Leadership begins with thinking. So my question is, what is your philosophy of leadership? Well, why don't you believe that you could own a company? Why the first thing you look for is a job instead of look for a business? Why do you go to college and study an area that guarantees employment rather than guarantees deployment? Because your hard drive is stuck.
If I want to have a healthy mind, I must feed my mind with truth. Now, we all know the importance of nutrition. Good food and good calories cause you to be better, to be stronger, to be healthier, to have more energy. The same is true in your thought life. I must feed my mind, not with junk, not with poison, but with truth. And in your small group, you're going to look at the different kinds of things you can put into your mind. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
The problem is you now believe your own lies so convincingly that you're now miserable because you're trying to chase someone else's life, all while ignoring your own life and your own path, all while ignoring what God has in mind for you. What is the vision for your life? What are the ideas and the dreams for your life? Who are you? What are your gifts and talents? What is your ultimate destiny and your goals?
No matter what package trouble comes in, trouble's trouble, isn't it? And each of us, when you're having trouble, there's always somebody that's worse off than you are. Well, that's true and that's good, but that doesn't mean that your trouble isn't still very important to you. If you're like me, when you have a problem, it's very easy to turn in on yourself and do nothing but think about what you're dealing with, and that's one of the worst things that we can do.
Wherever you are right now, I'm saying to you, you've got at least 3 or 4 or 5 talents that you are not even aware of right now. And you'll never be aware of them unless you come outside your comfort zone to see what it is that you might have a knack for, that you haven't discovered as yet. See, most people never discover their true potential because they figure that they're one-dimensional. And they don't try and stretch themselves and learn more.
We are educated to be employed, not to be deployed. Seeds deploy themselves and become trees. Fish deploy themselves and they swim. Birds deploy themselves and they fly. We are the only creatures God created who don't deploy ourselves, because our culture doesn't allow it. You got to get free from the culture and discuss yourself with yourself and say to yourself, self, am I who I really am?
See, whatever you decide to do, look at it and find out what is it that I have that I could bring to the table. Where is the opening for you? There's room for you out here in the arena called life. There's room for you to come out and live your dream. Don't allow but to keep you in the corner or keep you up in the bleachers looking at life, being a spectator, not being a participant, making a difference in life. All of us showed up to give something, and that nobody's going to give that service that you have to give. No one's going to produce your product. No one's going to write your book.
You are not your accomplishments. You are not your possessions. You are you. You are perfect. You are beautiful. You were born to do something great with your life. And this is the social media insidious influence it has in our lives. People think, I don't feel good about myself. I've got this self-doubt. The gateway to me feeling more self-confidence is if I could possess more things. Yes, having nice things will make you feel better about yourself. Yes, accomplishing things certainly is a reinforcement for self-confidence, but it's not the pathway to getting it.
Running the race of life is not about beating people. It's about releasing yourself. That's why great leaders never compete with anyone. They try to see how much of themselves they can release tomorrow. It's leadership. I will never compete with you. I'm too original.
Now, habit becomes your servant, not your master, once you understand self-discipline. See, on uphill climbing, everything worthwhile is uphill. Can I tell you on downhill slide? Nothing worthwhile. There's nothing worthwhile. If you're going uphill, you get wins, you get losses downhill. If you're uphill, you're preparing. If you're going downhill, you're repairing. I know people every day, they just repair. They just are fixing yesterday every day. High morale is uphill climbing. Low morale is in downhill sliding. All of this uphill climbing can be described in the phrase self-discipline. It takes a highly self-disciplined person to uphill climb.
You continue to forsake your purity and you give it away time and time again. And when people ask you, why are you lowering your standards? Why are you doing that? The best answer you got is because everyone else is. And you're sitting here and you're so afraid to be alone and single that you're tolerating this toxic relationship and you're convincing yourself that it's all going to be right. Let me just be honest with you. If you have to convince yourself it's right before marriage, you're going to have to brainwash and lie to yourself after marriage.
And you begin to do these things you say you're going to do. You say simple things like, I'm going to lay out my clothes the night before I go to bed every night, before I go to sleep, so when I wake up, that decision's made for me. And believe it or not, the fact that you just do something that simple that you then deliver on begins to build confidence. So you say, I'm going to stretch in the morning when I get up, and you do it. All of a sudden, when you just begin to do the things you tell yourself you're going to do, you begin to build self-confidence, which is this reputation with yourself.
Self-discipline is the bridge between good intentions and good actions. Good intentions is on one side of the water, and good actions is on the other side. And the bridge is self-discipline that takes our good intentions and turns them into good actions. The question is my attitude about self-discipline, is it a tunnel or is it a bridge?
See, if you don't decide to act on your dream, if you don't decide to make a decision to live your life, if you don't decide to step into your fears, if you don't decide to say yes to your life, it will never work for you. Time for doing, that's the time right now. Time for acting on your dream, holding on courageously, as Winston Churchill said, and not lose enthusiasm. Time to look around and become creative and see what need or service that you can provide, so that people will talk about you being a master and what you do, because of the commitment of pride and excellence and high standards that you've set for yourself.
If it's a tunnel, then self-discipline is heavy, because it's always about what I'm going through. Well, I'm going through this. Well, when you're going to something, you're on the bridge. When you're going through something, you're on the end of the tunnel, in a tunnel, hoping there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
I want you to change your definition of success from destination to perspective, right? Because that's all success is. It's a perspective. And the more and more we see ourselves being successful, the more and more we're likely to keep mimicking it and finding other ways to make ourselves better, because we realize what we're capable of.
A stronghold could be an attitude like, I'm never going to forgive that person. That's a stronghold. I will never amount to anything. That's a stronghold. If something bad's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. That's a stronghold. It's a lie that you are believing. If you're going to learn to be mentally healthy, you've got to learn how to demolish strongholds in your life.
Take advice, but not orders. Take information, but don't let somebody, order your life. Make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Excellent note to make. Make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Not to do what someone else says. Take what someone else says, process it, think about it, ponder it. If it makes you wonder, if it makes you think, then it's valuable. Then when you go take action, make sure that the action is not what somebody told you to do. Make sure the action is the product of your own conclusion. If you'll follow just a little bit of those simple guidelines, telling you the learning process can be speedy, swift, powerful. Your learning curve can go up, and then applying it to your business, your life, your family, conversations, equities of all kinds. You'll find some progress like I did that first 5 years when I met a teacher willing to share with me, turned my life around. Progress I couldn't believe happened for me. Okay. Philosophy, as I taught the last time I was here, philosophy, in my personal opinion, is the major determining factor in how your life works out. Philosophy. The major determining factor in how your life works out. Philosophy. To form our philosophy, you got to think. You got to use your mind. You got to process ideas. And this whole process over a lifetime, starting way back here when we were children, schools that we've attended, our parents, our experiences, all this stuff that we've processed by the thinking process, helps to develop our philosophy. And in my opinion, each person's personal philosophy is the major factor in how your life works out. Here's what I called it in that last presentation when I was here. It's called the set of the sail. Each person's personal philosophy is like the set of the sail. Now, I used to think it was circumstances that ordered my life. If someone would have asked me at age 25, Mr. Rohn, how come you're not doing well? Pennies in your pocket, creditors calling, nothing in the bank, behind on your promises to your family, you live in America, 25 years old, got a beautiful family, every reason to do well, and things are not going that well for you. What is wrong here? It would not have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. I mean, it would not have occurred to me. Saying, well, I got this lousy philosophy, and that's how come I got pennies in my pocket and nothing in the bank, and things aren't working well. That would not have occurred to me. I found it much easier to blame the government. Much easier to blame the tax problem. I used to say taxes are too high. Top tax rate when I first started paying taxes, 91%. Back then, when your income reached a certain level, all your income over that, 91%. So I used to say that's too high. Now, the top tax rate's about 33%. But people are still saying what? Taxes are too. See, but you can't use that anymore. If it's gone from 91 to 33, how could it be too high? Come on. I threw all that old excuse stuff away. Some people found it, though, and they're using it these days. My old list. I used to blame the traffic, the weather, used to blame circumstances, right? People say I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too old, I was raised in obscurity, raised on a farm, parents of modest means, all the stuff. If you were to ask me, how come you find yourself here, Mr. Rohn, age 25, living in America, land of abundance and opportunity, pennies, zero in the bank, not doing well, creditors calling, it would not have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. I found it easier to blame the company policy. I used to say, if this is all they pay, how do they expect you to do well? So I figured that, my future was going to be tied to what everybody else was arranging, the economy and, right, interest rates. I used to say things cost too much. That was my whole explanation, not my philosophy, until my teacher taught me better that this is where the problem was, my own personal philosophy. Here's what's exciting about each person's personal philosophy. That's what makes us different than dogs and animals and birds and cats and spiders and alligators. That's what makes us different than all other life forms. The ability to think, the ability to use your mind, the ability to process ideas, and not just operate by instinct. In the winter, I'm telling you, the goose can only fly south. What if south doesn't look too good? Tough luck. It can only fly south. But see, human beings are not like a goose, can only fly south. I mean, you can turn around, go north, you can go east, you can go west, you can order the entire process of your own life. And we do that by the way we think. We do that by exercising our mind. We do that by processing ideas and come up with a better philosophy, a better strategy for our life, goals for the future. Okay? Plans to achieve those goals. All this comes from developing our philosophy. Philosophy helps us to process what's available. Well, when we get here, we got seed, and we got soil, and we got some rain, and we've got some what? Sunshine, and we've got some seasons, and what? The miracle of life. Now, the key is, what do you do with all this stuff? How do you turn all this stuff that's available here into equity and promise and lifestyle and dreams and future possibilities? All of this that's possible now with human beings, how do you take all this stuff and turn it into this equities and values? Well, it starts with philosophy. What is the seed? What is the soil? What is the sunshine? What is the rain? Is it possible to take some of each of all the stuff that's available and turn it into food, and turn it into value, and turn it into nourishment, turn it into something spectacular and unique that no other life form can do? And the answer is yes. But you cannot deal with all this stuff and what to do with it unless you start refining your philosophy. Think, use your mind, come up with ideas, and strengthen your philosophy. So the seed and the soil and the rain and the sunshine, this is called, the economy and the banks and the money and the schools and everything that's available out there, processing information, what to do with all that, and turn it into equity and value. That is the major challenge of life, my personal opinion. So each person's personal philosophy now is going to determine what you're going to do with seed and soil, sunshine, rain, miracle, the change of season. That's it. My personal opinion. Each person's personal philosophy, like I said, is the same. That's what this seminar is for today. Help you to trim a better sail. You don't need a better economy. You don't need better seed and soil. In fact, when it comes to seed and soil and rain and sunshine and seasons and the miracle of life, that's all you got. Now, what if you blame this stuff? Then you're blaming all you got. Guess what I had to do at age 25 in order to change my own future? I had to change my mind. I had to change my thinking. I had to change my philosophy. I was messed up on what was causing my problem. And once I got that straightened out, that all the stuff I blamed, the government and taxes, and the marketplace and the economy, and things cost too much, negative relatives, cynical neighbors, once I got rid of that and started going for where the real problem was, which was me, I'm telling you, my life exploded into change. My bank account changed immediately. My income changed immediately. My whole life took on a whole new look and color immediately. And the early results I got from making these philosophical changes tasted so good, I've never stopped the process from that day. And I'm telling you, with a little consideration of the refinement of your sail, by setting a better sail, refining your philosophy, your whole life can start to change from today on. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to wait till next month. You don't have to wait till spring. You don't have to wait till 93. You can start this whole process immediately. I recommend it. Now, some people do so little thinking, they don't even have their sail up. I mean, you can imagine where they're going to wind up at the end of this week, at the end of this month, at the end of this year. Now's the chance to change, process all this information. Well, number one is philosophy. And we dealt with all that, where we get ideas, personal experience, from other people's experiences. I don't want to get into all those details because we covered that the last time I was here. But philosophy, that's number one, my personal opinion. Each person's personal philosophy. Here's the definition of success and failure. Just make this note. Here's failure. A few errors in judgment, repeated every day.
You need faith. You ain't got to be that smart. You can be highly successful and go to no school. Just go follow your dream, man. Go make your life happen. My whole career is dedicated to all my punk teachers that told me, sit down, acting a fool. You ain't gonna ever make no money acting a fool. It's all I had. I just used what I had. Quit tripping because you don't have what a group of people told you you need to be successful. Quit letting people tell you the route to success when clearly God created you to be different. All my friends got college degrees, all of them. I went to college with them. I flunked out. But God made me different. Now they all come to me for advice. You don't have to go get a degree if you're not a degree person. You can still make it. Quit tripping because you don't have what he got. You ain't finna be what he is. God made you different. People pay you to be different. Weird people make money. Regular people make regular money. If you focusing on being regular, you're going to have a regular life. It's nothing wrong with that. But if you aspire to something more than regular, you got to go be extraordinary. You ain't got to be like everybody else. I'm telling you, man, you can be highly successful without a college degree. I don't have one.
I believe that Dr. Peel was right. Always strive to get on top in life because the bottom is overcrowded. I believe if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy.
It's easy to fit in and do what everyone else is doing. Our coworkers show up late, so we show up late. It's normal. It's common. But God did not create you to be common. You were created to be uncommon, to do what others aren't willing to do, to believe for things that others think are too big. Everyone at work may be complaining. That's common, but that's not you. Instead of joining in, you find something to be grateful for. Why? You're uncommon. People around you may have a small vision. They're just going through the motions of life. That's common, but that's not you. You believe for big things. You know the path of the righteous gets brighter and brighter. You're a person of excellence. You do the right thing when no one is looking. You could have compromised to get ahead. Nobody would have known, but you live by a higher standard. That's the kind of people God rewards. Compromisers are all around. You'll see them every day. That's common. But God is looking for uncommon people. People that don't lower their standards. He's looking for people that go against the grain, that believe when it seems impossible. Uncommon commitment and uncommon attitude. When you make this decision to not fit in, but to be uncommon, then you will see uncommon favor, uncommon breakthroughs, uncommon victories. When people look at us, they should say, there's something different about them. They're trustworthy, they're committed, they're loyal, they're happy, they're uncommon. Don't let society squeeze you into its mold. People at work may slack off, do a half-hearted job. Don't let that thinking rub off on you. If they want to be common, that's their choice, but that's not who you are. Stand out in the crowd. Don't sink down to their level. Set a new standard. Be different. Live by a higher standard.
You must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. See, very few people go to seminars and workshops. They'll go to a concert. But showing up to get something that can expand their minds and give them a larger vision of themselves, they'll be too busy. Or they say, well, how much does it cost? Well, information costs, but it pays for itself. It's possible you can live your dream. It's necessary that you have the mindset that I'm going to do this. People that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. You got to increase your energy in order to live your dreams. You can't be casual about your dreams. Bill Bailey said, if you're casual about your dreams, you'll end up a casualty. You got to kick it up a notch. When you look at your goals and look at where you want to go, you want to set some high standards for yourself. Do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. Are you known for that person that stand out with what you do, that stand out with your standards, always looking for ways to better your best? You got to take responsibility for that.
Everyone's partying, everyone's slacking off, everyone's negative. You're not everyone. You are a chosen people. Could it be the reason you're not seeing favor is you're being common? Is you've let society squeeze you into its mold? It's time to break out of that mold. You may be surrounded by people that are lazy, not going anywhere. Don't let that keep you from your destiny. You've been set apart. Now do your part and don't live common. When you dig your heels in, I'm not going to be pressured into compromising, complaining, gossiping. I'm going to be uncommon. I'm going to be a person of excellence. When you make this choice to be uncommon, God will make things happen that you couldn't make happen. It takes courage to not compromise. People will try to make you feel weak because you're not going with the majority. It doesn't take much effort to do what everyone else is doing. A dead fish can float downstream. It takes a live one to swim upstream. All that pressure trying to get you to conform is a sign that God has something amazing in front of you. I will not defile myself by letting these outside pressures convince me into lowering my standards. You may not see it yet, but God has something amazing in front of you. You're supposed to live and die and nobody knew you were here. You have to be willing to do what others won't do. To resist temptation when others are giving in. Every temptation, every difficulty, God has given you the grace to overcome. Yes, it takes discipline. Your flesh will tell you, give in, do what everyone else is doing. Don't let a temporary period of being uncomfortable keep you from a permanent blessing. When you're being uncommon, don't be distracted by the naysayers. And they're making fun of you now, but you don't know, one day they may be working for you. Sometimes when people get to where they were trying to go, they forget what got them there. It was the fact that they were uncommon. Once they reach a goal, they start becoming common. When you refuse to compromise, when you don't take the easy way out, God will do the uncommon. God has uncommon favor in your future, uncommon relationships, but you have to do your part and be uncommon. When you go against the grain, when you take these steps of faith, don't be surprised if common people tell you how it's not going to happen. You can't start your business. You don't have the experience. Don't believe those lies. You have something on you that they cannot see. Ordinary people would settle. The good news is you are uncommon. You have seeds of greatness on the inside. You're going to defeat giants that look bigger. You're going to accomplish dreams that seemed impossible. I'm not looking at average people. I see history makers. I see people that are going to leave their mark. People that live by a higher standard. Friends, God has not only chosen you, but He has set you apart. Now I'm asking you to do your part and live uncommon.
You will have tribulation. Didn't say you might, but here's what I can say to you. You are different. You are uncommon. One great American said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence. An uncommon desire to control your destiny. Give yourselves a round of applause.